Hello, Zebulon TV here today, and I have an example of plagiarism that I think I'm probably, maybe not the first person to find this, but I think I'm the first person to find this and put this on the internet. I've tried to find someone else noticing this plagiarism on the internet, but I haven't been able to find it. And it's in this book here called The White Jacket by Herman Melville. Most of us know Herman Melville as the person who wrote Moby Dick here. However, instead of taking place on a whaling ship, this took place on a U.S. Navy ship, and it's supposed to be an autobiographical account of Herman Melville's time in the U.S. Navy here. And the particular chapter of interest is chapter 37 here. It's a pretty short chapter. I'll just try to hold the phone still for each of these 3 pages so you can pause the screen and read them. It's very interesting because throughout this chapter, they found floating at sea several barrels containing wine. They had presumably been out floating in the ocean for a few years, since they were all covered with barnacles and seaweed. I think it says here they looked like venerable old loggerhead turtles. And these barrels, they contained wine, and that wine was still good, and they were able to drink it here. Pretty interesting. A pretty interesting concept, since they had run out of alcohol, which was a pretty big deal, since according to Herman Melville in a previous chapter, a major reason why people even wanted to join the Navy in the first place was the steady supply of alcohol here. And moving forward several chapters, to chapter 90 here, Herman Melville is talking about the manning of navies and how they go about manning a navy at this time in the 1840s. And he starts talking about how the British went about manning their navies at this time, and they would do something called impressment, where they would basically kidnap people when their ship was in port, or if they captured another ship, they would kind of like force the people into basically what was slavery, but you were working on a navy. And in describing this, he cites this one particular book, John Nichol Mariner, which was published in 1822 by Blackwood in Edinburgh. It's basically this book about this man who was illiterate, but he had a man transcribe this into a book. He was a cooper, and he spent his time making barrels to hold things like whiskey in the Navy. Things like whiskey or rum and such. And I actually happen to have this book right here. John Nichol Mariner. It's not nearly as famous as anything Herman Melville wrote. It's just kind of his account of him working on various different ships throughout his entire life. It's an autobiography, basically. I think it's a pretty interesting autobiography because he was in the American Revolution, but on the British side. So he was involved in some of the naval battles that happened, and one of the particular things, just a particular paragraph here. We get this paragraph here. It says, "When off Cape Horn, we perceived an object floating a small distance from the ship. Not one of us can make out what it was, and all of our boats being fast, 2 men went down into the water and swam to it, and made it fast in the slings. When it came on board, it was a cask, but so overgrown with weeds and barnacles, the bunghole could not be discovered. I was set to work to cut into it, and to our agreeable surprise, it was full of excellent port wine. All the crew got a little bit of it, and Captain Portlock gave us brandy in place of the rest." Herman Melville basically had this same exact chapter spread over 3 pages. No, the same exact paragraph in this book spread over 3 pages. No, it's no secret that Herman Melville, plagiarized, and he had some other autobiographical works where he kind of like added his own pizzazz to it. But I just think this is interesting because I just discovered this myself about 2 or 3 years ago, and I just decided to. I just now decided I should probably make a video about it since no one else knows about it except for me, presumably.